In this episode, Lawrence can't stop coughing. Oh, and we talk about training again after a layoff. Welcome to AskTheLJs, episode 12. I'm Luke.
I'm Lawrence.
And let's get down to business.
Business.
Business with Zs.
With Z. Always with Z.
Yeah.
It's like games.
Games with a Z, yeah. If you spell games with an S.
What are you doing? You've
Come
lost
on.
them all immediately.
Yeah.
So, what is this guy's name? I know his Instagram. His Instagram handle is @NowNard. But hang on. I think his name might be Arnaud. I think he might be French.
Nice. Statement of the day. We're getting in early. What country are you from?
Yeah. His name is Arnaud. He's got a private Instagram profile, so don't go and follow me on there.
Yeah. You don't want you to.
But Arnaud has asked, what is the best plan to regain muscle after a 2-month layoff when it comes to training and nutrition? Thanks in advance. What I will say, first off, we've actually got a video from Mike Zordos talking about
That's on YouTube.
something like this on YouTube. So
M-Dog, link it up.
Link it up. Bitches. If you've not watched that, go and watch that. Mike is, 1, hilarious, and 2, very, very informative. But we're going to put our own spin on things, because you're watching this. So why would you be watching this if you wanted to watch Mike?
It ain't Ask the Z, is it?
Well, that's a very good idea.
We can get the Z on.
The Z. So, best plan to regain muscle after a 2-month layoff. Nutrition-wise, I would start by just getting a handle on what you're eating, because if you've had a 2-month layoff, likelihood is your motivation to track things, to keep a handle on your nutrition is probably going to be pretty minimal, because likelihood is you're going to be in the mindset of, oh, what's the point? I'm not doing anything anyway, so there's no point. I'm just going to eat pizza and get fat. So first thing, get a handle on what you're eating. That can be as simple as just writing things down or taking photos, or you can go full macro tracking. Whatever's going to suit you best at this point. And from there, I would probably just look to eat at maintenance.
Or work out what maintenance is.
Work out what maintenance is and probably just stick with that for a little bit.
And remember, your maintenance is going to probably go up because you're now going to start exercising.
Yeah.
So yeah, try and get into a routine, and I'd probably just say track again.
Yeah.
Especially for like the first week or two, just to get an idea of roughly what your maintenance is.
Training wise, what I wouldn't do, Mitchell's gone for a hike. What I probably wouldn't do is jump straight into Phil Heath's 6-day-a-week body part split routine.
I'd go DTP.
Yeah, DTP, Chris Gettin's
Is
DTP.
that the 50, 40,
Yeah.
30, 20, 10,
Yeah.
then back up again because...
Because bodybuilding.com said so.
It also says to wake up at like 2 a.m. to have a protein shake, and gives you about a list of 20 supplements to take each day. However, they did have Nick Teminello on there recently, so...
They're not all bad.
They're not all bad.
Just mostly.
Yeah, mostly.
So I wouldn't do that because you probably won't be able to walk after the first week.
Yeah, and it's psychologically as well, because from a point of, you know what you was lifting before you had that layoff, whether it's injury or whatever, we don't know the circumstance, but you will probably be disheartened when you go to bench or squat or deadlift and you're like, wow, that's bad. And what I noticed from a personal N=1, and probably most people with this, you probably can relate, is that you probably, the first set you're okay, the strength's gone a little bit, but it's that endurance, the second, the third, the fourth set, if you're obviously going to 4 sets, depending on repetition ranges. But that's where your fatigue, where you could maybe hit like a 888. Now you've lowered the weight and it's probably like an 863. Yeah, you're like, what the?
So what I would do is give yourself, Zordos calls it an intro week, so a week of much lower volume, but sort of the same frequency per body part as your going to be planning on training in the future. This is to elicit the repeated bout effect, basically. So what that's going to do is protect you from that really crippling soreness that will definitely come if you just jump straight into normal training.
Yeah.
So
always err on the side of less volume.
And then
starting off,
what I'd probably do is the first kind of block of training, stick with really low RPE sets. So like RPE kind of 5 to 6. So leave 5 to 6 reps in the tank on each set, but do lots of sets of that. I would probably do that to just build that work capacity back in place. Not work to failure, because again, Luke mentioned this, just the psychological downside of hitting failure way before you expect it. You get rid of all of that by working at such low RPEs as well. Working at low RPEs, you also drill that technique really well, which again, if you've not practiced this skill for 2 months, it's going to feel really rusty. And by sticking with those low RPEs, if you don't know what RPE means, it's rate of perceived exertion, measured on a scale of 1 to 10, depending on how many reps you have left in the tank. We'll put a link to a good description in the description box. So, excuse me. So yeah, by sticking with those low RPEs as well, you're going to get those that technique back in the groove. You're going to start to feel a lot better about your lifting. That's what I would do. Stick mostly with kind of the bigger compound lifts to really drill those really well. Those will regain a lot of your lost muscle just by doing that, because it's more than you've been doing for the past 2 months. So it's a case of your muscle and your strength will likely come back very quickly after a layoff, but I would have this block of really low RPE, relatively high volume actually, because you can accumulate quite a lot of volume with the low RPE. That's going to help the muscle come back quicker. It's going to help you really groove those movements because you're practicing them a lot. And then after that kind of 4 to 6 week block, up the RPEs, up the intensity a bit. Fuck me, this is...
yeah, Lauren, stop talking. Let me finish this.
I
got this.
You got this.
I
I'm
got
just going to sit and die.
Yeah, so it's pretty much what Lawrence said. Not much more to add apart from he needs Lemsip.
Yeah.
Or whatever cough medicine he needs. The good thing about when you get back into it, you start low off, you're like, yes, I just increased my bench by 10 kg in like a week or 2 weeks, and I managed to get more reps on it. So it's a good thing there. Psychologically, I think people ignore the fact that it is quite disheartening when you've hit this weight before, and because you've had this time off for whatever reason, that it's going to take a lot longer to get back to it, or longer than you want it to be. So yeah, keep air on the side of caution on the volume or intensity, so you're not getting too much DOMS, which is delayed onset muscle soreness. And because if you do get that, it's not really, it could mean that you just don't get back into the groove of it as much, because I can't squat, I've got to wait, and you will experience that if you go too hard too early. In regards to nutrition wise, it depends on what your goal is and where you currently are. If you wanted to, let's say you've put on a bit of weight, then I would probably, a small deficit. I mean, you look at research now, if you're a trained individual before, you can still go in like a small deficit and still regain muscle and body recomp quite nicely, which you hear of these stories where they purposely put a load of fat on and then purposely lose a weight, and then you'll see these amazing before and after pictures. So you're in a good position to not have to really undereat too much, a smaller deficit, and you should be able to regain some muscle as well as strip some fat as well.
What I will say, if you want proof that the type of training I was talking about works, you maybe been listening to that going, lifting at a 5 or 6 RPE, that's never going to do anything. This idea was taken from one of Mike's SBS Academy modules, where he goes through some case studies of some lifters that he's done. This guy was coming back after a layoff because of injury and started off with a working squat max. So his 1RM at the time he started was 420 pounds. By the end of I think it was a 12 or 16 week cycle, he squatted 445 pounds for 8 reps. So starting that low and doing a lot of volume and just gradually intensifying and working up, added 25 pounds and 7 reps to his squat. And this is 420 pound squat max. He's not a weak lifter. That's like 180 something kilos. Mm-hmm. So it works.
Right, remember, question of the day.
What cough medicine should I use?
No, we've already done it. Oh, you want 2 questions? We said what country. What country and what cough medicine should Judd use? See you next time.